Good morning and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. We're so glad that you joined us today. I am Margie Curry and I am your host, and today's session again is with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello, who has been practicing and teaching yoga for more than 20 years. We want to remind you and want you to remember that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. They are committed. AARP is committed to offering opportunities for people to stay engaged in their home. And the Mindful Movement series allows opportunities for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. Hey, Becca.
Good morning,
Good
Margie.
morning. Are you staying cool?
Trying to. How about you?
Oh, I'm trying to stay cool also. What you
Yeah.
got for us today?
Well, we do need to stay cool, and that maybe changes what our activities are like these days. And we definitely want everyone to stay safe. But we can't stop moving because we know what happens to our bodies when we don't do things with them. They get stiff, sore, weak. We don't want any of that to go on. So we still got to keep moving throughout this heat wave.
Right.
But keep it safe. Stay indoors where it's air conditioned if you can, or get cooled off. With the right measures of water and shade and all that stuff. But we're going to do a practice today that'll just give us a good opportunity to move and stretch and use the whole body. It'll involve a few things that you could take down to the floor, or you could stay using the chair. So we'll have some options there that I'll show you today.
Very good, very good. Remember, everyone, that we want you to check with your physician before you begin any type of exercise program to make sure that it is safe to participate. We're going to get started with Becca, and we want you to stay tuned and take our survey at the end of the program because we just love to hear what you have to say about us. All right, Becca, take it away.
All right, will do. So we do a lot of our practice here on Mindful Movement using a chair that helps keep the practice very accessible to anyone who'd like to participate with us. It's a great prop. So we'll start seated in our chair. And then, like I said, we'll do some sequences where you can either use the chair or you can go down to the floor if you want to. So just be listening up for those options. For now, let's sit tall in our chair, feet firmly on the floor. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Let's do that sighing breath a couple more times. Deep breath in through the nose. One more time. All right, now let's place a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. And we're just going to take a few more moments here with our breathing, because breathing is one of our most foundational movements. We're going to breathe in and out about 17,000 times or so a day. So that's a pretty important movement that's going on in our body all the time. And of course, working with our breath has some nice impacts on our nervous system. All right, so take your next breath in and see if you can feel both hands moving a little bit. Exhale it all the way out. See if you can feel those hands again, that area of the body, the chest and the belly, doing a little rise and fall as you breathe in and out. See if you can deepen that breath, taking just a slightly fuller breath in. Try to slow down your breath out so you can get all of that breath to empty out of the body. Three more of these breaths. Putting these hands on your body is also just a good way of giving your brain a little more connection to your physical body. And that's a pretty important thing to cultivate as well. It means we make better decisions, both our conscious decisions and all those multitude of decisions that are going on in our unconscious throughout the day about our physical body. All right, drop those arms down. Let's just do a little quick warm up in the chair. Turn the head right and left a few times. And then bring that head over to one shoulder and let's make a semicircle. Roll that head across the chest over to the other shoulder and then roll that head forward and across again. Okay, go 2 more times. Back and forth. All right, and then pick that head up, roll the shoulders a couple times. And let's go ahead and get our arms involved. So pick up your elbows if that's comfortable as you roll those shoulders. Maybe pick up your whole arm and make a big circle. Still some nice big breaths in. One more circle with those arms. Good. And then let's take it to a little twist. Just turn one direction in the chair. You can bring your hand across to your knee if you'd like. And then unwind it, sit up nice and tall in the center, turn the other way. Come back to center. Now let's take a little side stretch. One arm up and over. And then back to center. Other side up and over. And back to center. Hands to the heart. Let's do a little pull back. This gets our shoulder blades and our spine moving. Push forward. Get rounded. Might even drop your chin to your chest. So pull and push. Remember, any of these movements that I'm showing or instructing, you can always make them smaller. You can make them slightly different shape or different angles. So don't feel too hemmed in to look exactly like I am. We've all got different bodies and different histories. So why don't you just make a similar movement, but make it yours. Make it something that feels good in your body. Last 3 of these. Last one. All right, now let's do a little circling around the pelvis to get aware of our hips. Then we'll move on and warm up the legs, and then we'll be ready to stand up. So I'm circling around that base that I'm sitting on, right? Moving over to one sitting bone around the back, tipping forward, bending at those hips there. Let's go the other direction a few times. Circle it around the other way. All right, come back to center. Let's take one leg and bend and straighten at that knee a few times to get the knee joint loosened up. It also helps to wake up our hip again a little bit by just holding this leg up. All right, now let's keep that foot forward. Point and flex the ankle. Circle that foot a few times. Always go the other way as well. Good, and then put that foot down. Let's switch legs, bend and straighten at that knee. Good, hold it out. Next time you straighten it, point and flex. And circle that foot. Go the other way. Now let's just take a few quick stretches before we come up to standing. So extend one leg out, toes up, heel down on the ground, sit nice and tall. That may be enough. We're looking for some stretch in the back of that extended leg. So some folks will want to maybe lean into it a little bit to feel some stretch in that hamstring. Some folks, you'll feel that stretch just from trying to straighten your knee and put your foot up in the air. All right, and let's switch sides. Take the other foot forward, toes up, heel on the ground. Sit tall, maybe lean forward. And then release it. All right, so let's come on up to standing. So what the first thing we're going to do here is a sun salutation, which is just a great way to move the whole body and get it warmed up. And it could use the chair, or you could go all the way down to the floor. So the first round I'm going to show using the chair. The second time I'll show using the floor. All right, and then you can decide for the subsequent 2 rounds that we do which one you want to do, which version. So if you're using a chair, you're just going to make sure your chair is on something that won't slip or slide when you put your weight on it. And we'll stand right in front of the chair. Now, if you know the sun salutation somewhat and you want to go ahead and do it to the floor, great, no problem. Just anytime my hands are in the chair, you're going to pretty much put your hands down on the floor instead. All right, so let's stand up tall, take a breath in and reach up. And then soften at those knees, bend at your hips, and take yourself down. You can let your hands rest in the chair. Again, maybe you want to let them drop down to the floor. Take one more breath here. And then we'll use that chair. Push the hands into it to lift up into that flat back. Now, if you weren't using the chair, your hands could come up to your shins or your knees. All right, and then fold it back down again. And we're going to step it into a lunge. So step one leg back. You can keep your hands on the chair or on the floor, or you can decide to bring them up in the air if you want to. Okay, that could also mean that you put them at your heart or on your hips if you don't want to raise them overhead. One more breath right here. And then we'll bring it back down, hands to the chair or the floor, and we'll step back into downward facing dog. So hands are on the chair, the arms are extending, the hips pressing back, knees soft. 2 more breaths here. Feel free to move a little bit in this downward dog if you want to, shifting the weight, bending the knees back and forth. Next, we do a plank pose. This is a nice strong pose. So shift forward into what looks like a push-up. If you're down on the floor, you can actually have the option of putting your knees on the floor for this part. Push nice and firmly with those arms. If you need to skip this one because it bothers your shoulders or your wrist, you can skip. You can just stay in downward dog a little bit longer. All right, now let the hips push back at least somewhat. Step the other foot forward. We're in that lunge again. Now maybe you want to take your hands out of the chair. Maybe you want to stay down there. You can bring the hands to the heart, or you can reach the arms overhead. All right, and then we'll bring those hands back down and step that back leg back in. If you're using the chair, you may have to step that front leg back. So you're back into what I like to call tabletop. Go into that flat back, pushing down into the chair to lift up, and then soften the knees and fold it down again. Rock the weight back to your heels. Slowly come up to what we call chair pose, where you're sitting back a little bit. You can raise the arms or place them at the heart. And then let's come all the way up tall. And bring the hands back down to pause. All right, take a breath here. So that was sun salutation with the chair. So feel free to stick with that. I'm going to show this next one to the floor just to give that visual for folks who may want to try going all the way down to the ground. All right, so inhale and reach up. Exhale, fold. Again, you want to soften your knees, fold at your hips, take those hands down to the floor. And then lift back up, flat back. Hands are in the chair if you're using that, or maybe they're on your shins or your knees. And then fold it back down again. All right, we're going to step one leg back into that lunge. Now remember, you can stay here. You can stay with the hands on the floor. You can even put your knee down if you're doing this floor version, okay? And that may help you come up with the arms. All right, so arms up optional, whether you're on the floor or using the chair. And then let's bring those hands back down. We're going to step it back into downward facing dog. Now, if you're on the floor, you may have a little more tightness in the backs of your legs. So you may have to keep those knees a little bit bent, and that's no problem at all. It's perfectly fine to have bent knees in downward dog. Again, you could give it a little walk here if you wanted to. Pedal those heels up and down. And give it one more nice deep breath. All right, then And shift forward to plank. This is our push-up. Nice strong arms, strong core, belly. Remember, you can put your knees down if you're here close to the ground. Good, and then a little push back. And then step the other foot forward. Sometimes that's a little tricky from the floor, so you may have to put your other knee down. Remember, that knee could stay down or come up, and then lifting those arms is optional. Okay, one more breath here. Bring the hands back down, step the back leg in, flat back. We're lifting back up to those hands on the shins or the knees, and then folding down. Sit back into those heels. Come on up to chair pose again. And then all the way up tall. And then hands to the heart. Good. Another pause here. Take a breath. All right, we're going to do that sun salutation another 2 times. Use the chair, use the floor. You decide which one works for you. You could also choose to pause and rest part of this time if you want. So inhale and reach. Exhale and fold. Lift back up. And fold. Good. Step 1 foot forward or 1 foot back. Hands can stay down on the chair or on the floor, or feel free to bring them up. Remember, if you're doing a floor version, your knee could be down here. It's just another variation to take. Good, and let's bring those hands back to the chair. Step back, downward facing dog. Again, maybe give it a little walk in place or a little wiggle. And here comes our plank position. Come on into that push-up. Push the floor or the chair away from your chest. Nice strong arms. Make sure your belly, your hips aren't sinking. Keep them up. Now let's transition. Pushing the hips back. And stepping that other leg forward. Maybe coming up with those arms. And then bringing it back down and stepping back into that forward fold. Lift up into the flat back and then take it back down. Sit back into those heels. Here we go through that chair pose. All the way up tall. Hands to the heart. We'll do one more round. Again, I'm going to switch back to doing it on the floor. You can still pick the chair if you'd like. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold it down. Flat back, lift up again. Exhale, fold it down. Step one leg forward, one leg back. Come up with those arms if you'd like. Good, let's take it back down. We'll step into downward facing dog. Also remember, your heels don't have to touch the ground in downward dog either. Sometimes people think that's a requirement of some sort, but it's not. Some people's heels will touch the ground easily and others may never touch the ground no matter how much they stretch. There was just too many differences between the way our bones and joints operate. Let's shift into that plank. This is our last time with plank. Make it a good one. Push the floor away. Feel that engagement of the belly and the front body. And push the hips back again so that you can step the other leg forward for your lunge. You can keep those hands on the chair or the floor or walk them up. Maybe reach them overhead. Good, let's release. Step that back leg in. Let's come up to flat back. And then fold. Sit down into chair pose and slowly come up. Inhale, rise all the way up tall. And then bring those hands to the heart. Let's pause here a moment. Check in. Maybe put a hand on your heart and feel that heartbeat. Or feel how your breathing's a little bit faster. You might feel a little warmer, right? We did definitely warm up with that sequence. That's sort of what it's intended to do. All right, let's just stay standing for another few moments, and then we'll finish up with a stretch or two in the chair, and then a brief rest, which you can do either seated or lying down. So let's do a side stretch. Reach the arms up and overhead. You could take your hands to your head here, or you could hold on to one wrist and stretch that arm up and over to the side. So the hands on the head is a good option if your shoulders, are a little tight, don't want to go all the way up beside your ears. Bring it back to center. Lift up, take it the other way with that stretch. Good, bring it back to center. Drop the arms down. Roll those shoulders a couple times. Good. Now spread the arms out to the sides. Nice big breath in. Exhale and bring those arms across the chest. So you're just giving yourself a big hug. All right. Work those arms as far around your body as you can, grasping those shoulder blades on your upper back. And then take a nice deep breath. And gently drop the head, round it slightly forward. You could certainly be seated for this part if you want to, if you're feeling a little tired on your feet. Lift back up. Notice which arm is on top. Spread the arms back out to the side. Nice big breath in. And then wrap those arms around again, but put the other arm on top. Deep breath into that upper back. Maybe drop the chin, the head. And then lift that head, take the arms out wide one more time, and then drop them down at your sides. All right. Now, you could use your chair for this, or even a wall if you happen to have, a wall nearby or a doorway. We just want something that we can catch the hand on. So I'm going to catch one hand on this chair, and I'm going to walk forward. So this arm is being pulled back behind me a little bit, and I'm getting a little stretch into that chest and that shoulder. Stand up nice and tall. Sort of just turn away from that arm a little bit. One more breath. And then release it. Let that arm drop, shake it out. Notice how it feels. And either turn around and do that same thing on the other side, or maybe you find it different. I'm going to show it on the wall this time. If I use the wall, I just take my hand behind me. I turn gently away from that wall. Maybe even turn my head a bit. Deep breath into the chest. And then release. Shake that arm out. All right, let's come to our chair so that we can do a little stretch for the hips. So sitting back down, just the front edge of the chair, let's cross one ankle up on the knee or the thigh. Or you could decide that crossing at the other ankle or shin works better for you, but try to get that leg to turn so that the inside of your knee is facing more up to the ceiling. And then again, we sit tall, maybe lean into this a little bit, looking for some stretch in that hip or glutes here on that leg that you're crossing. All right, take a few breaths here. Let's see if we can start to sense our heart rate and our breath rate beginning to slow down after our little sun salutation sequence. Good, let's release this and go to the other side, crossing either there at the ankle, the shin, just below the knee, or just above the knee. Sit up tall. See if you can notice a difference. Like my left one is always a little tighter. So I feel, a little more tightness here. My knee doesn't drop down quite as far, but I'm not having any pain. So I know the stretch is still okay to do. It's just a little different than it was on the first side. Check in with your breathing. See if you can start to slow it down actively, consciously, working with that breath length. Good, and then release. We're going to do one more stretch in the chair. So you can turn sideways or partially sideways in the chair. Kind of let that front leg drop down. Make sure you're holding on, okay? This looks similar to the lunge that we did, okay, especially if the bent knee, if it was on the floor. But here we're just going to tuck the tail, lift the low belly, and then maybe add that reach up of the arm. Now I'm going to show you one additional way you can do this stretch to get a little more stretch for your thigh, the front of the thigh muscle, the quad. All right, so if you want to try this, drop the hand down, pick up that foot till you bend the knee and you hold that foot or ankle. All right, so this is a bigger bend on the knee. If that doesn't work for you, keep those toes on the floor. All right, release that. Let's slowly turn it to the other side here. Good, dropping that front leg down so the knee points down. You can get a squeeze in that glute. Reach up through the arm. Good, now if you want to do that bigger stretch for the quad, bend the knee, use that hand to grab it. Don't worry if it's something that you decide you need to skip. All things are not for all people, right? We already know that, right? So you're picking and choosing what makes sense for you to do. All right, release that. Now you could stay right here in your chair, or if you feel like getting down on the floor, you can come down onto the floor. Put your legs up in your chair. This is a great resting position. It's really nice to get those legs elevated, especially in this hot weather we're having. It can help with, any tendency to have swelling in the ankles or just have tired legs or feet. Sometimes it can feel cooling to lie down and get your feet up as well. So whether you're seated in the chair or lying down, we're just taking these last minute or two of time here to just settle our nervous system, slow down our breathing, give our body a chance to just start cooling back down. You might place that hand on your heart and on your belly again, just to connect to your body and your breath if you want. And make each breath just a little bit slower, a little bit longer than the last one. Two or three more breaths here. All right, now if you're lying down and you're pretty comfortable, I encourage you to stay. Just stay a little bit longer, 2 or 3, 5 more minutes. Take advantage of this opportunity to rest. I've got to wrap the show up, however, so I'm going to pull my knees into my chest and roll it slowly over and come up. All right, you take your time when you get ready to come up from your position, or if you're already seated, then you might just open your eyes and drop your hands to your lap. All right, let's take one more deep breath together. You can bring the hands together in a gesture of thanks and gratitude, thanking your body for its ability to move for you, for your mind and its ability to pay attention, and always to AARP Alabama for giving us this opportunity to move mindfully together. Please fill out the survey if you don't mind, and let us know what you think of our programming. We sure would appreciate it.
Thank you so very much, Becca. We enjoyed you today. And we look forward to seeing everyone back again on Tuesday for Mindful Movement. Thank you and have a great day. Stay cool.
You too, Margie. Bye.